Ladies and gentlemen, many people overlook a key point. The way you speak to yourself matters. Every repeated thought, every inner phrase, and every story you tell yourself shape how you see the world. It isn't about luck, motivation, or waiting for the right conditions. It comes down to the daily conversation running in your mind. What's important to understand is that your brain listens to the words you use and accepts them as truth. If you keep feeding it doubt, fear, and negativity, that becomes the lens through which you experience life. The positive side is that this pattern can change. You have the ability to reshape that inner dialogue. You can shift from discouraging thoughts to those focused on growth. It begins with choosing words carefully, starting the moment you wake up. This matters because your internal language guides your decisions, emotions, and confidence. Your entire perspective is built on your beliefs, and those beliefs are constantly shaped by what you tell yourself. You choose whether those beliefs support or limit you, but this requires awareness and responsibility for your mindset. Think about the last time you felt stuck or overwhelmed. It may have been recent or something you face often. What did you say to yourself then? I can't do this. I'm not ready. Why bother? These are not facts. They are mental patterns. When repeated long enough, they seem real, but they're not. They are habits, and habits can change. Research shows the brain is always forming and reinforcing neural pathways. Repeating a thought strengthens that pathway, making it automatic. If you often say, I'm not enough, that becomes your default. But if you start saying, I can handle this, I'll find a way, or I'm doing my best and that's enough, you create new pathways. In effect, you rewire your brain to work with you instead of against you. This is not only a motivational idea, it is supported by neuroscience. It explains how thoughts and behaviors are formed. If you want to change how you feel, begin by changing your self-talk. Confidence is not something to wait for, it is built by the words you choose. Readiness doesn't come first. You say, let's start, and take action. Yes, it requires steady effort. It won't feel natural at once, especially if negative self-talk has been your long-term habit. But your brain can adjust. That's neuroplasticity. In practice, you can train your mind like a muscle. Each day is another chance to choose better thoughts, to build a stronger inner narrative, and to tell yourself a more accurate story. Not fear, not excuses, but truth about your ability. A simple phrase can act as an anchor. You're in control. When repeated, it reminds you that you don't have to be ruled by emotion. You don't need to follow fear or accept every passing thought as truth. You can pause, take the lead, and move forward. You don't have to be perfect or have every answer, but you do need to consistently show up for yourself. Stop breaking yourself down from the inside, because if you don't stand with yourself, who will? If you don't put effort into your goals, who else will? If you don't affirm your strength, ability, and resilience, your mind will drift toward doubt. It will return to fear, and you deserve better than that. The key point is this: your words carry weight. Use them wisely each day. Choose words that move you forward, steady you, and remind you of your potential, your direction, and your strength. The life you are shaping begins with how you speak to yourself. A phrase like I am capable of handling challenges builds a mindset through daily self-talk. This is often overlooked in real mindset change. For lasting transformation, it's important to understand how your brain works, and repetition is central. The brain learns by patterns. It seeks efficiency, turning repeated thoughts and actions into habit. That is neuroplasticity, one of your strongest tools. Put simply, every thought or action activates a pathway. Repetition strengthens it, and over time it becomes automatic. This is how routines are formed. That's why repeating positive, intentional phrases is not just motivating, it's training your brain. You are shaping the way you think. Now consider the thoughts you've repeated for years. For many, these are negative patterns: self-criticism, doubt, phrases like I'm not enough, I always fail, or no one values me. You likely didn't choose those thoughts on purpose. They may have come from past experiences, outside opinions, or fear. Yet when repeated often enough, they begin to feel true. In reality, they're not facts, they are learned beliefs. The encouraging part is they can be changed. You can rebuild those pathways with new words, new thoughts, and new beliefs. But this requires consistency. One positive phrase cannot replace years of negative repetition. It is steady and deliberate practice that creates lasting change. That's how the brain operates. You may have spent years or even decades reinforcing negative self-talk. That's all right, because the moment you commit to consistent supportive language, progress begins. Change doesn't happen instantly, but it does happen one intentional thought at a time. Imagine starting each morning with the phrase, I am in control of my choices. At first, it may feel unnatural. You might not fully believe the words. That is normal, but you repeat them daily, making them part of your routine. Over time, your brain begins to accept the pattern and it becomes familiar. The more you repeat it, the more natural it feels. Then one day, in a situation where you would normally react with stress or fear, you pause, breathe, and almost automatically the phrase appears, I am in control of my choices. You respond instead of react. That isn't random, it's neuroplasticity at work. The same process applies to any phrase that reflects the person you aim to become. I can handle this, I'm improving every day, my goals matter. These are not empty words, they are tools. With repetition, they shape mindset, influence confidence, and guide behavior. But they only work when practiced with intention, not only on good days, but consistently. Many people believe affirmations must be fully believed to work. That isn't true. You're not deceiving yourself. You're building belief, and belief grows through repetition. Self-doubt didn't appear in a single moment, it was formed through repeated thoughts. In the same way, confidence, clarity, and courage develop through steady practice. Your brain isn't an obstacle. It isn't designed to stop progress. It simply follows the instructions it receives over time. That's why you can retrain it, but only with daily effort. You must pay attention to what you say, how you say it, and how often you repeat it. Repetition is what replaces old mental habits with stronger, more supportive ones. It's how you move from I can't to I will. One positive phrase on its own is not enough. It must be repeated until it feels natural. You repeat it until it feels real. You repeat it until your brain accepts the future you are building. In this way, repetition doesn't just change thoughts, it reshapes identity. Confidence is not fixed at birth. It's a skill like learning a language, riding a bike, or strengthening a muscle. It can be practiced, developed, and improved over time. And the process begins with how you speak to yourself each day. Many assume confidence appears only after success, after reaching goals, gaining recognition, or proving value. But that view is reversed. True confidence comes before results, not after them. Confidence is not about outcomes. It's about trusting that you can manage whatever happens. That trust doesn't arrive instantly. It grows through repetition, daily practice, and intentional self-talk. You won't always feel confident or fully ready, and that is normal. The key is to move forward anyway. Each time you say, I can handle this, or I don't need all the answers to start, you strengthen the mental base that confidence rests on. A common mistake is waiting to feel confident before acting. But confidence doesn't come first. Action. You take a step, move forward despite doubt, and gradually prove to yourself that you're capable. This creates a cycle. Action builds evidence, and evidence builds belief. The more challenges you face, the more your brain learns that you can manage discomfort, and that you are stronger than you thought. Still, when faced with discomfort, your brain may try to avoid it. That is its way of protecting you by keeping you in familiar territory. But growth never happens in comfort. That's why intentional self-talk matters. When fear-based thoughts appear, you can replace them with supportive ones. This is how you keep moving forward, by guiding yourself with words that encourage rather than restrict. Think of someone who seems naturally confident, like a skilled public speaker. In most cases, they didn't start that way. They practiced, made mistakes, faced fear and doubt, and learned from failures. Each time they showed up, they strengthened their confidence. You can do the same in any part of your life, whether in goals, relationships, or career. It requires letting go of the belief that you're not that type of person. You are. You simply need practice. Begin small. Speak to yourself with consistency and purpose. Remember that confidence is not perfection, it is progress. Use words that move you forward and repeat them daily. Confidence is not a gift, it is a skill, and like any skill, it grows stronger with use. Your words, actions, and mindset together build the confidence you need. Phrases such as, I'm learning and that's okay, or I don't need to be perfect to be proud of myself, are not empty. They are practical tools. They shift your perspective from fear to growth. In moments of doubt or pressure, they help you reframe and stay in control of your inner state. The key is awareness of your self-talk. When your thoughts begin to spiral, pause and ask, what am I telling myself right now? Is it helpful or harmful? That simple question can interrupt the cycle. Once you notice it, you can adjust the dialogue. You can choose words that steady you instead of unsettle you, language that calms your mind instead of amplifying stress. This is especially important in high-pressure situations, before a presentation, during a difficult conversation, or when making a significant decision. If your inner dialogue is filled with doubt, your emotions will follow. But when you ground yourself with phrases such as, "I've prepared for this," "I can handle this," or even "breathe and stay steady," you create the space to perform at your best, even while nervous. This doesn't only affect how you feel internally, your emotional state also shapes how you interact with others. By managing your self-talk, you show up calmer, more confident, and more present. That kind of self-regulation improves relationships, strengthens performance, and expands your overall impact. It's important not to underestimate the role of self-talk. Your words are tools, and how you use them matters. Each day, you have the chance to influence your emotional experience, not by controlling outside circumstances, but by shaping your internal response. Speak to yourself with the same care and respect you would give someone who matters, because you matter. The way you talk to yourself directly affects how you feel and how you engage with the world. This connects to a psychological concept called cognitive framing, the way your brain interprets events based on the frame you place around them. You do this constantly, often without realizing it. If fear, past failures, or other people's opinions guide your interpretation, you strengthen limiting beliefs. But if you choose to frame situations in a supportive way, your mood, decisions, and outcomes begin to shift. Your brain filters reality through these frames. When you see a challenge as a threat, your stress response is triggered. When you see it as an opportunity to learn and grow, your brain adapts, and so do you. Framing challenges as opportunities directs your mind towards solutions, rather than avoid. You feel steadier, more open, and more capable. The situation itself hasn't changed, but your response has. For example, being asked to lead a project, give a presentation, or step into a new role can feel overwhelming. If you think, "I'm not ready for this," hesitation and doubt follow. But if you frame it as, "This is a chance to grow, and I'll learn along the way," you may still feel nervous, but also confident enough to step forward. This is why self-talk plays such a critical role. It becomes the lens through which you experience life. If your thoughts sound like, "I always fail," or "I'll probably mess this up," you're creating a discouraging frame that fuels hesitation or burnout. But if you reframe with, "This is temporary," or "one step at a time," you strengthen resilience. The words you choose matter, because they decide how you move forward, or whether you move at all. Framing is not about ignoring reality. It isn't pretending things are simple or ideal. It is about responding with clarity instead of reaction, with intention instead of fear. It helps you keep perspective, and gives you a better chance to grow. Challenges are unavoidable. That part doesn't change. What you control is how you interpret and respond to them. Consider a practical example. Two people lose their jobs. One says, "I've failed, this is a disaster." The other says, "This is a chance to find a better fit and take charge of my direction." The difference is not in their skills, it is in their framing. Often the person who chooses the more empowering perspective recovers faster, learns more, and moves forward with purpose. This applies to smaller moments as well. Running late can be framed as a failure, or as a short pause before the day begins. Rejection can be framed as proof you're not enough, or as a step toward the right opportunity. The way you frame these moments shapes your experience, and over time, your experiences shape your life. Here's a simple practice. Start noticing your thoughts, and ask yourself, "Is this frame helping me or hurting me?" That one question can break a negative cycle. It brings you back to the present, shifts your mindset from reactive to intentional, and creates space to move forward with clarity. Like any skill, reframing strengthens through repetition. It begins with refusing to let automatic thoughts define your reality. Do not let fear, doubt, or negativity become the lens through which you view everything. Take charge of how you frame experiences. Use words that support you. Choose perspectives that encourage action instead of avoidance. Remind yourself that you have more influence than you often realize. How you view your circumstances directly shapes how you respond, and that is where your real power lies. Many people move through life only reacting to events, opinions, fear, or uncertainty. They run on autopilot, letting external factors set their internal state. But it does not have to be that way.
You are not a passive observer of your life. You can choose how to interpret what happens, and that choice can shift your entire mindset. One of the most effective decisions you can make is to focus on what is within your control. When life feels overwhelming or uncertain, the quickest way to regain stability is to narrow your focus to what you can actually influence. There is always something within reach: your effort, your mindset, your words, and your attitude. You may not control how others behave or how events unfold, but you can control how you respond. That focus may not seem dramatic, but it forms the foundation of resilience. By directing attention to what you can control, you save energy and use it more productively. You step out of the cycle of overthinking, blaming, and waiting for outside change. Instead, you take ownership of your thoughts and actions. That shift is where real progress begins. It is the difference between staying stuck and moving forward, even one step at a time. It is easy to fall into the habit of trying to control everything: how people see you, how outcomes turn out, or how smoothly life goes. But that search for total control often leads to stress and frustration. The truth is, the more you try to control what is beyond your reach, the more powerless you feel. Letting go of what you cannot control makes room to focus on what truly matters. It brings clarity, calm, and momentum. Consider this example. You are working toward a goal, but progress feels slow. You cannot control timing or other people's choices, but you can control how you show up today. You can focus on the delay, or you can focus on the next step. You can let frustration stop you, or you can remind yourself why you started. That inner decision, your choice to keep going, is where transformation begins. Shifting your attention from outcomes to effort builds progress from the inside out. As you learn to trust yourself, you stop waiting for perfect conditions or outside approval. You build resilience by understanding you are not powerless. You remain the constant in uncertainty. You decide how to think, how to act, and how to guide yourself. It is not only about what you do, it is also about how you think. You may not stop a negative thought from appearing, but you can choose what follows. If your mind says, "I can't do this," you can answer with, "I'll take it step by step." That is the base of emotional discipline. Even under stress, you can remind yourself, "I've faced hard things before, I can handle this too." That is real strength. This is how you lead yourself through uncertainty. That mindset separates those who grow from those who remain stuck. It is not luck or talent. It is the consistent choice to focus on what you can influence, while letting go of what you cannot. Each day gives you that choice. You can stay in complaint, or you can move forward. You can hold on to the past, or you can focus on your next step. You can give away your sense of control, or you can protect it. Ask yourself, what is in my hands right now? What can I do with the time and resources I have today? It may be a small action, a mindset shift, or a reminder that setbacks don't decide the outcome. Whatever it is, do it today, and again tomorrow, because small, steady efforts build confidence and stability, no matter what is happening around you. This is how a strong, meaningful life is created, not by waiting or wishing, but by taking responsibility day by day. Each choice adds to your growth. That is how progress is made, how development happens, and in the long run, how success is. One of the most limiting beliefs people carry is that the past defines them, that mistakes, setbacks, or missed chances decide what is possible in the future. But the past is only one part of your story. It is not the final chapter, unless you stop writing. If you keep replaying old failures, you risk missing the moment where things begin to improve. Everyone has experienced regret, uncertainty, or feeling stuck, but none of that means you must remain there. The only time the past holds you back is when you bring it into the present. If you keep saying, "I always fail," or "I'm not the type of person who succeeds," you create a mindset that blocks progress. That story becomes a barrier, and you are the only one who can take it down. You do not need permission to move forward. You don't have to wait for perfect timing or outside approval. You hold the power to choose this moment, and that choice can start now. You can say, "I've learned from my past, I'm stronger now, and I won't let it decide what comes next." That is real growth. Growth is not about erasing the past, but about learning from it and refusing to let it control your future. There's a reason the windshield is larger than the rearview mirror. Where you are going matters more than where you've. It's natural to look back for reflection, but not to remain there. Do not stay trapped in regret. Do not let guilt or past mistakes prevent progress. You are not defined by old choices. You are not the same person you once were. You have learned more, you've grown, and you are allowed to move forward. One of the most powerful things you can say to yourself is, I forgive myself. Forgiveness does not mean the past was right. It means you are no longer willing to carry its weight. It means giving yourself a real chance to rebuild, to learn, and to start again. That is what healing looks like. Everyone has regrets. Everyone makes mistakes, but not everyone chooses to rise afterward. Those who do are not luckier or better. They simply decided differently. They stopped letting the past control them. So ask yourself, what are you still holding on to? What story from your past is preventing you from reaching your full potential? Was it a relationship that ended, a goal left unfinished, or something else you wish had turned out differently? Whatever it was, it already happened. It is over, and it cannot take your future unless you continue giving it that power. The moment you stop allowing it to guide your present is the moment you take your power back. That decision belongs only to you. You have the ability to rewrite your story. Starting now, begin speaking to yourself as someone who deserves to grow. Tell yourself, that version of me did the best they could with what they knew, but I am not that person anymore. Now you carry more strength, more clarity, and more. You become your best self, not by erasing the past, but by rising above it. That shift in self-talk can change your direction, and it moves your mindset from being stuck to recognizing your ability, from seeing yourself as controlled by circumstances to realizing you are shaping what comes next. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can decide the meaning it holds. You can view it as proof that you endured, that you learned, and that you're still here, still trying, still growing, and that matters. The fact that you are standing means your story is unfinished. In truth, the most meaningful chapters may still be ahead. So don't live as if your best days are behind you. Live as if the best is yet to come, because it is. The past is complete, the lessons remain, but the shame does not need to. What you have is today, this moment, and that is enough to begin again. Not because everything is perfect, but because you are ready to believe your future can be different. You are not stuck. You are at the beginning of becoming who you are meant to be. Keep moving, keep growing, and most importantly, do not look back.